good? All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for coming. I am your police captain, Thomas Scotti, and I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of why you're here tonight, all right? The reason that I'm hosting this tonight is to discuss some of the recent incidences which have transpired within the community, to kind of dispel any fears that anyone may have regarding these incidents, and provide some advice or some pointers on how to better insulate yourself and your property and your homes from becoming victims of these types of crimes, and afford you guys the opportunity to ask me any questions that you may have regarding public safety issues. So while I can't speak specifically to any of these crimes, I can speak in generalities about them. So over the past couple months, we had an armed home invasion, we had a substantial daytime burglary, and most recently we had a storage unit theft, which turned into a multi-jurisdictional and now federal case where there was mail fraud, wire fraud, and stolen weapons. And that's just to name a few of the things that have been going on. There's still other cases that, you know, I could go on and we'd be here all night. So not that it's that busy, but we have quite a bit going on. So State Police Major Crimes was actually generous enough to assist us with the investigation of the armed home invasion, and they worked really well with our detective, Chris Ryder, to bring that to a resolution. And there's no current danger to the public with regard to that incident, as the suspect was taken into custody immediately, charged, and has remained in custody pending his legal process. So the daytime burglary is kind of self-descriptive. We had a pretty substantial daytime burglary up off of Page Road within the last month, where the victims, they had jewelry, precious items, as well as cash stolen in roughly the amount of $6,000 to $8,000 stolen. Of course, Detective Ryder is following up on that as well, and he's also working the storage unit theft. So our new storage units in town, one of those got broken into, and several guns were stolen along with other items. And after following up on that particular case grew legs, and it took us to Maine, took us to Massachusetts, and to several other places within all 3 states. And now the feds have gotten involved because there's wire fraud and numerous other thefts. So he's working very hard on those cases, and he's spent countless hours. So with all that being said, I'd just like to kind of discuss some of some pointers or some advice on how you guys can protect yourselves from would-be criminals, from victimizing you guys at your homes or stealing your property or what have you. All right. So some of the ways you guys can protect your home and your belongings is obviously security systems and surveillance systems. There is tons of security systems out there. I can't, I'm not going to endorse a particular brand, but, there are numerous ones out there that you can pick from. And the technology now is really, really, really good, where they can actually arm your windows, doors, all that stuff. So you can tell when a glass is broken. And to be honest with you, sometimes just putting stickers or fake cameras up will do the trick, and it'll deter people, because most of these crimes are crimes of opportunity. Right? So, it's those types of things are enough to deter people. They have cameras now for your doorbell. Obviously you have Ring, Arlo, and numerous other ones out there. So those are all good to have, and the security systems now, the technology will actually go right to your cellular device or iPad or whatever platform you use. All right? And I think it's important for us to be cognizant of where we're situated in regards to the rest of the state. We are a small community. I think on a good day the population is around 9,000, right? So we're sandwiched between Hudson, Nashua, Merrimack, Bedford, Manchester, and Londonderry. So all of those communities are at least, well, I know Hudson's about 28 to 30,000, Merrimack's about 24 to 26,000. I forget what Bedford is, but Manchester's like 120 plus, and Nashua's about 80,000 people. So you think about it, there's a lot of people crammed into this area, and they, when criminals target areas for theft or other types of crime, they try to go to places where there's money or where they think there aren't a lot of resources, and that happens to be us. You know, they think, oh, well, let's go to Litchfield. You know, there's an affluent community, and they don't have a lot of cops. So it makes sense that they would come here. So to keep that in mind, these are things, you know, that we should be paying attention to and trying to implement. You know, with the warmer weather coming, you have AC units. People love to put their AC units in their lower level, and that's an easy way of point of entry for a would-be burglar. You just push them in and get right into your home. So keep that in mind. Obviously, lock your doors and your windows when you're not at home or at night, and remove the tools of opportunity. So, is anybody familiar with what a tool of opportunity is? Exactly. Tool of opportunity. What does everybody prop their door open with? A rock. So the tool of opportunity is a tool that is available to a criminal, and if it's available, it's an opportunistic point for them to either take it and smash it through your window and get into your house, or break your window to your car, or whatever. So try to remove those tools if they are there. Take your ladders in. Take, you know, any rocks that you use to prop doors open. Take those, remove them. Use something else. All right? Obviously, my favorite is see something, say something, and / neighborhood watch over there. You know, police your neighborhood. If you see somebody or a car that's out of place, call us. Get the plate number. There's nothing wrong with calling and having us go and check it out. You know, that's what we get paid to do. And if it's somebody who isn't supposed to be there, or at least we can document that they were there at a particular time, and then a crime is reported, we can tie them to it, okay? So, and I actually have some information on a neighborhood watch that if anybody is interested in, we can talk after or at another time, and we can kind of get the ball rolling on a neighborhood watch program for wherever you may reside. Keep records of your property. So take pictures of high-value items, write serial numbers down. This is a big one. So what would be helpful if you're burglarized is if someone steals your grandma's family heirloom ring, right? And we have a picture of it, it's a lot easier for us to track it down, or if we catch the person with it, we can positively identify it. And a lot of people don't think of that. They don't photograph their belongings. Or, you know, gun owners. A lot of people think like, well, you can just look it up by my name. That's not how it works. They don't really keep good records of gun purchases. So it would be way easier if you have your serial number. So take pictures of your serial numbers on your weapons, those kinds of things. And obviously lock them up. Keep them, you know, unaccessible, not just your weapons, but your valuables. Lock them up when you're away, you know, okay? Or take them with you. You know, at nighttime, take your purse or whatever you have, and don't leave it out. If you're leaving the house, don't leave that stuff out. Whatever you do, don't put cash in a dresser drawer. That is the first place that burglars look. So hide your cash in a safe, not someplace where it's easily accessible. Obviously, dogs can be a good deterrent, and, you know, throw up the beware of dog sticker. Again, a lot of this stuff it's crimes of opportunity. Criminals will take the path of least resistance more often than not, okay? That's why they look for open doors, unlocked doors, open windows, and the such. Obviously, weapons, if you choose to purchase weapons, I highly recommend and strongly urge you to get proper training prior to doing so. And obviously storage is a big key to that component. But obviously this is New Hampshire, and we are a gun-friendly state, so if that's something that you so choose to do and you need advice, obviously we can point you in the right direction. There's plenty of schools around here, gun ranges. We have Sig Sauer. They offer courses on everything from beginner all the way up to advanced. So again, I wouldn't go purchasing one unless you have the proper training. All right, and then don't post this. We're going to traverse into social media. Whatever you do, don't post about your vacations until you're home. So a lot of mistakes people make is they will post that they're going on vacation, or while they're on vacation, they're, hey, look at me, I'm on, you know, in Aruba. Well, anybody, if you have an open Facebook page, anybody can see that, and that could be a means for someone to target your home, okay? Or, you know, be wary, we'll get to that in a second, be wary of, you know, your children's friends and who you have friends on Facebook, because obviously, if you have a close, you know, Facebook or Instagram or whatever, the only people who are friends with your friends or something can see you, right? They have to be connected to you somehow. You just don't know who they're sharing that information with, so you have to be very careful of that. Obviously, don't post personal information or other identifying information. And I can't tell you how many times we see this, but like, you know, especially with kids, if you have children who are driving age and they're all excited to get their license, do not let them take a picture holding that big giant green card that they got their license with their name, address, and date of birth on it. That's generally not good. Don't post pictures of your family calendar, or be cognizant if those things are in the background when you take pictures. All right? You know, obviously secure your social media and so it's not public. So that way there are only people who, you know, that you know are friends can access your social media and look at your pictures and what you're posting. And obviously monitor what your children post and who their friends are, okay? You know, be cautious of who you accept as friends or followers, as well as your children, all right? With that, I'm actually, oh, I have one more thing. I apologize. We have one more add-on. Just as an add-on to the social media part, April 19th, Matt Fleming from the New Hampshire ICAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children, is going to be giving a presentation here at the school. There's going to be more coming out on that from the school, but Mike Perez wanted me to share that with all of you. They're going to be doing a student safety for kids during the day and then a parent info night. And he's going to be bringing his canine, Nico. And that particular dog can actually sniff out electronics, which is pretty cool. So I highly recommend you guys take advantage of that. So I told you I wasn't going to drone on. Now I'm opening it up to questions. Anybody who has any questions, please feel free. Wow.
It's not a question related to home ownership protection, but she and I, Patty and I, are going to be traveling in a month, and we're going to be going to a big city. Is there anything you'd recommend for personal protection?
See, that's tough because depending on where you go, yeah, so the laws are extremely stringent in some places, and you can't even, like in New Hampshire, you can have pepper spray, and in Chicago, you would have to look up what the rules are there. I would recommend you either look them up or call a local police department out that way. They could probably give you some better advice on that.
The only time we ever had a problem with pepper spray was in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't let us bring anything in.
Yeah, because I know in Massachusetts you need an FID card to have that. If you don't have that, you can get jammed up. You know, you can get charged.
It's like that in New York City.
Yeah, New York City is tight with that. So I really can't speak to that. Well, I can't give you any good advice, let's put it that way. It's, you know, pepper spray I would call out there and see if that's okay. You know, there's always good old pocket knife. So, but again, you'd have to check with them and see what's legal and what's not legal out there.
What I was just going to mention is that you guys do the vacant property. If you're going on vacation,
Correct.
Fill out that form.
And that's an excellent point. And I can't believe I didn't bring it up. We actually do vacant home checks. So while you folks are away,
You guys have been great about that.
yeah,
That's
you just
fantastic.
let us know and we take care of that. So, yes.
Another question, the activity in town that we've had, is
Mhm.
it local? Is it kids from Litchfield that are part of the problem? Just out of
No.
curiosity. Okay.
No. So there's one other case that I failed to mention that I think is important to mention. We actually had a fairly good-sized crack investigation last year where there was a gentleman out of Manchester who was using a home in Litchfield to cook crack cocaine. And he was using it as what's called a stash house. So he was paying the person to allow him to cook and store his product there. So, and when we arrested him, he had about $12,000 in cash, which we seized, roughly 60 grams of cocaine and crack cocaine, and about 200 pressed fentanyl pills, and a loaded 9mm. So, but again, not from Litchfield. And the suspects from the storage unit thefts, those people are not from around here. Massachusetts and Maine. And obviously the home invasion, that suspect was from other side of the river, quite a ways away.
And I read that he didn't have any relationship with the people he victimized. What, was he just a random attacker?
We don't know. If we cannot establish whether or not there is a connection between the two parties at this time. That case is still open, and we're still actively investigating it. Does anybody else have any questions? No? You guys have free chance to throw pot shots at me.
I know we went over this already, but
Mhm.
just so that for the presentation, could you go over maybe local opportunities for self-defense courses?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ms. Stevens and I had spoken in regards to RAD, and I don't know if anybody here is familiar with that, but it's the Rape Aggression Defense System. And so a lot of PDs in the area provide that service. We unfortunately do not, but you can go to the RAD Facebook page, and they actually post on there when their next class is going to be and where it's going to be. So I don't know when the next one is. Do you happen to?
Not off the top
But
of my
I
head.
know Londonderry is putting a class on for instructors, and Pelham I know has an active program. But that's something to look into if you are interested in that. And obviously there's several different self-defense places around here as well. That seems to be a big thing, mixed martial arts and such. So.
Given the events that happened the week when we had that false alarm with the threat to school, how's the new school resource officer going to be utilized? And what's the 30, 60, 90-day plan for that?
So for the school resource officer? Okay, so we will be able to hire for that position. Well, I actually already just closed the letters for it, and I already received two officers who are interested in that position. So the backfill will be hired in hopefully July to backfill the position. But that officer is expected to start in September with the school year, and they're going to be in the school. They won't be teaching DARE yet because the DARE program, they teach the instructor course for DARE is held once a year, and it's always in November, and it's a 2-week period leading up to, it's the first 2 weeks of November. It leads up to Thanksgiving. So, and it's the only time they have it. So unfortunately, we won't be able to start the DARE program this coming year. It will have to start the following year. But that officer is going to be spending their time primarily at LMS and GMS, and they're going to probably split their time between the two, or be bouncing between the two, and especially when they're teaching. Because that's going to be, their schedule is going to be dictated once they're teaching DARE by how they have their DARE classes scheduled, because they're going to have to work with the school on that.
So that kind of brings a question, right? So they're going to be primarily between GMS and LMS, right?
Mhm.
Elementary and middle school.
Correct.
What's the resource available at the high school level where some of the threats are more significant?
So we already have an officer that's here 30 hours a week, and the 1 day a week when that officer isn't here, the school resource officer will jump up here and be available.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone?
Car break-ins,
Mhm.
it seems to have ebb and flow.
Yes.
And the other thing I notice is that sometimes people will call it a break-in, but the car is locked and unlocked,
Correct.
which is like a pet peeve of mine.
Yep.
But how prevalent is that in the community? And is there a certain time of year where it's higher?
So we're going into the nice weather, and that's generally when it happens, but
Okay.
it can happen any time of year. I've been doing this job for almost 19 years. I started my career in Hudson. It happened over there, and it would come in rashes. You know, like you said, it ebbs and flows. We'll just get a few neighborhoods that'll get absolutely crushed, and then it'll go away for a while, and then it'll come back. And that kind of brings me to a point. If you take your valuables in from your car and lock your car doors, you have a much better chance of not having your car broken into. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to take reports from people where they left their, $5,000 Apple laptop in the car with, private client information that, isn't supposed to get out there, and you're like, but their car door was unlocked. So, it's something that's easily preventable. Bring your bags in, bring anything in there, leave nothing in there, because, most of the time, even your loose change, because most of the time they end up snagging that. They'll break into your car for loose change. But if they see nothing in there, they're just going to move on. They're going to try the handle, generally speaking, and kind of make their way on to the next target. So that was a good question. Anybody else? Wow. Quiet crowd tonight. Any public safety question? All right, well, I think that kind of wraps it up. Told you I'd be quick. If nobody has any other questions, we'll wrap it up. All right, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you so much. You know, yeah.